Travel back in time with a trip inside the Iowa's News Now vault.
Good afternoon. 11 federal investigators began this morning to seek the cause of yesterday's plane crash near Otter Creek in Jackson County. The crash of the twin-engine turboprop took the lives of South Dakota Governor George Mickelson and 7 others. Joe Vigil joins us live now by satellite from the scene. Joe, 11 investigators is a large number. Why?
Well, officials say, Dave, since Governor Mickelson was on the flight, it will be a higher visibility situation. Now, some of the things that they'll be doing today, they'll be looking at plane records, maintenance records, among other things. Now, let's go to some of the video that we have taken earlier this morning. Now, let's looking at the crash site. Now, officials are looking through the wreckage. One thing I do want to say, it's very cold out here. It's very windy and sometimes raining, and transportation officials say that will hamper the investigation. They say it's extremely muddy out in the field also, and they say some of the parts of the plane are actually lodged deep within the mud. Now, officials also say extensive damage to the plane when it crashed and burned is also a situation they're worried about, because there's not a lot of the plane. The fuselage and the tail are really the only things that, big pieces of the plane that they're looking at. They say hundreds of smaller pieces are scattered amongst the wreckage. Now, some other things we do want to mention here. There's not a real lot to piece together. Again, I did mention that some of the bigger chunks, and many things are scattered all over the place.
We don't have any indication at this point what the initial upset was. We're in the process of trying to determine whether the engines were generating power at the time of impact, and we really don't have any other than very cursory information for you at this point. We'll be talking to the air traffic controllers to get their version of the conversations.
Joe, is there any indication when the investigators hope to announce a cause of this accident?
Well, Dave, they'll be on the scene for probably 3 days, but they say it'll be at least 6 months before they actually make a final ruling. One thing I do want to mention, we are going to be allowed to take a pool camera on the site, so we'll have better pictures of the wreckage for you a little bit later, and I'll be here to give you the latest information.
All right, Joe, thank you for the report. Joe Vigil reporting live from Otter Creek in Jackson County.
This is the Channel 2 News at 6.
It's our assumption that it was a non-survivable accident.
A team of 11 federal investigators is on the scene of an Iowa plane crash in search of answers.
Good evening, everyone. The crash late yesterday afternoon near Dubuque killed 8 people, including the governor of South Dakota.
Our Dubuque Bureau reporter Joe Vigil was at the scene for most of the past 24 hours. And Joe, what's the scene like now?
Amy, it's really a mess, and it's going to take investigators quite a while to sift through the rubble. Now, transportation officials are having a difficult time looking through the wreck, in part because of the cold wind and rain, and they say many pieces of the plane are stuck in the mud. Charred and mangled remains of the plane lay scattered across the Jackson County farm. The plane crashed and burned yesterday afternoon as it attempted an emergency landing at the Dubuque Regional Airport. It's now up to the National Transportation Safety Board to piece together what caused the tragic crash.
It's quite destructive.
Susan Coughlin, vice chair of the NTSB, says the plane reported engine problems about 25 miles from Dubuque. She says the plane lost altitude after pilots complained of engine problems. Witnesses say the plane may have attempted to land in the field, but clipped the silo first.
I can't speculate on that.
Other aviation experts say the Mitsubishi MU-2 has had engine problems in the past, and say with the bad weather conditions when the plane went down, it would have been difficult to fly. Federal Aviation Administration officials say the South Dakota plane has reported 2 problems, one of which was a leaking fuel line. But Coughlin says it's too early to tell if the downed plane had similar problems.
At this point, we don't know enough about this accident to be able to draw any relevance with any other accidents, but believe me, we're going to look at previous accidents to see if there is any relevance.
Now, the investigators say since the plane exploded, many of the pieces are scattered all over, and they're still trying to locate some of those smaller pieces.
Joe, larger aircraft have black boxes on them. Mm-hmm. Was there anything similar like that on this aircraft that they might be looking for?
No, there wasn't, Pete. There wasn't a flight data recorder or a voice box on board, and Coughlin says that's going to make the investigation even more difficult.
So there's quite a bit of work yet to go.
Yes.
All right, Joe Vigil, thanks.